Hello, guys, and welcome back to the channel. To my left or to your right, we've got Rad. So, good afternoon, Rad.
Dan, how are you?
Uh, I'm okay. You?
Yeah, it's a bit difficult to answer after yesterday, but yeah, overall I'm fine. But after the game, not sure really what to think at the moment.
There. That's the thing because I think none of us expected it last night. We thought the international break might have done us the world of good, but it just had the complete opposite effect. If that was the best way of putting it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it was disastrous, really. You kind of leaves you a bit speechless because of the situation. Like, don't want to be too negative, but it feels like we just can't win any games right now, and that only leads you one way, which is obviously relegation. Which none of us want. I'm not particularly like worried or sad about having to play the championship again. I want nothing more than us to stay in the Premier League and for it to work and be successful. But it's it's just frustrating, because we clearly have good players, but it's just not working. And I think some of the signings now that we're seeing, they're kind of not working in the same way that we thought they would do. Lodi, for instance, Foyler's still been a bit iffy. Lingard certainly has. I think Nico's been a bit exposed now. And, when Aurier came on yesterday, I thought he looked significantly better than him, to be honest. A lot more experienced, a lot more physical, and just better in every way, to be honest. And I'm not slating Nico too much, but I think Aurier looks a lot more streamlined and ready for it. Yeah, it was just a disaster, like first 3 games of the season were pretty good besides Newcastle. That was just a bit of a reality check, that game. Obviously not Spurs, West Ham was a great result, albeit quite lucky, but we still got it done. Everton, we should have won. It was a good performance, though. And then obviously Spurs and City you can accept, but we didn't even play that bad against Spurs, did we? But when you look at these last 3 games, it's just gone to a whole new level. And I think it was bad enough losing at home twice to 2 promoted teams like us, who, yes, have had better starts, but still, it was a disaster to bottle a lead twice in that manner. And then it's weird because Leicester are better than Fulham and Bournemouth by quite a distance, in my opinion, on paper, but in the league, they were worse, like, definitely. And yet they tore us apart, like, outclassed us, and it was incredibly damning and painful to watch that. And I think if Leicester weren't in the situation they're in, I wouldn't accept it, but it wouldn't hurt as much. But given the fact that they were struggling so badly, and they're going to keep struggling to keep Rodgers, then it's really concerning. I'm just got to hope that it changes very soon, because it has to if we want to stay up.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's hard to pinpoint that, like you said it then, like, are the players being exposed, or is it's don't know what's really gone to it, like, is it how we are being set up, is it that teams find the way of doing it now, and is it the whole new signing? I mean, we needed it anyway,
Yeah.
but you can't put it to words at the minute what's it's going on. Like, I mean, now the reports of they're getting rid of Cooper, which, I mean, that's another thing for me because I don't want him to go. But I mean, what's it's just speechless.
It's the first time this season I've gone to talk about Forest, and I'm not really sure because there's just so much going on. Like, after what Cooper's done for us, it just feels terrible to even be discussing him leaving, not leaving, but being fired. And I just feel it's really bad and disrespectful to him. And I thank Ryan for what he's done for us, getting us up, but it'll be a really, really bad decision, especially if we were to go and get someone like Benitez that are being linked to. I would not be that convinced by maybe Sean Dyche, because I think he's a great manager, but regardless of how good he is, I wouldn't be considering replacing Cooper. I think I kind of understand why people are questioning him in the sense that some of his decision making and tactics, it clearly isn't working. With the defending yesterday was just ridiculous, and it makes you think what on earth we've been doing the last 17 days or whatever between those two games. It's very concerning, and it was arguably worse than what it was before. And yeah, it was not good at all. But I think maybe it's a big learning curve. But eventually, we've got to actually learn. If it may be a learning curve, but you've got to actually learn from it. And we're not doing that right now. And we've come off the back of a run where it's games where we could have been winning. You would have thought, right, we've lost 5 in a row. We need a nice run of games now just to hopefully put it right. But we literally have been on that run of games, where you can't really play any lower teams than what we already have done. Like 2 promoted sides, Leicester side that were looking really, really poor. So theoretically, there isn't anyone worse in the division for us to play, and we've lost 3 of them. And it's quite conclusive, really. And I think we do have quality. We clearly do, but it's just not being used at all correctly. I think confidence is shot right now. That we didn't have that many chances yesterday, but that chance where Awani and Johnson were 1-on-1, 2-on-2 actually, and Awani shot and it rebounded straight to Brennan. All Brennan had to do was shoot, and it would have all but certainly been a goal. And he did it, and he tried to tee it up, made a right hash of it. And I think Johnson on full form and confidence, he would have put that away definitely.
Yeah.
And it's really frustrating and concerning. Just gotta hope it gets better really soon because it has to.
That's the thing, and another day, put them chances away, Leicester would have crumbled completely.
Yeah.
So, that's and when Brennan got put through, we know 9 times out of 10 what he would do, but last night it didn't happen for some reason, and yeah, completely agree with that. To be fair,
yeah. With the one he hitting the post as well, if that goes in, we would have still conceded yesterday, but it could have shaped the game very differently. Like, score that, Leicester probably wouldn't have been expecting it based off the run of play because Leicester were already dominating. It may have very well have been different, but I'm not saying it's all down to that because overall we were nowhere near the level we need to be at. Performance, tactics, everything, it was just so far off, and you saw that with 3 changes at half time. Don't really know why Brian went off only. I think everyone was a bit ineffective yesterday, but Foyler is still failing to convince me, which is weird, saying he's good for Switzerland, as we literally saw last week. Obviously, like I said, I think he was a lot better than Nico, and obviously took Chiarte off for Yates, and I think Yates did all right under the circumstances, but it's hard to judge really because in games like this, everyone's off the game really.
yeah. I know there were a lot of people on social media. You probably seen it last night as well.
Yeah.
A lot of people stating about why we made them changes, but we needed a reaction at half time. And to be fair, keeper, he tried doing it with 3 changes, but then it didn't really have that effect. But that's what you want. People crying out for reactions, and people tried to do the reactions, but it just didn't work. If that makes sense.
No, it was a typical game really where side scores a load in one go and then they just kind of sit back. Even if they're better than the opposition, they just don't really go and score a few more. And it's a typical game like that really. And we definitely had more chances in the second half, but we weren't really much better. Like, I think Mangala and Aurier did well. It was great to see Mangala come back for sure. One of our best players yesterday, and he was only on for about 20 minutes. It's just, as certain Forest managers in the past would say, it's fine margins, really. But if you score a few of those goals or chances, it might have been slightly different, but I don't think we can really put it down to that. The whole performance was very concerning.
I don't. 2 of the changes that did happen with O'Brien Finney, it made me think with obviously what happened after that third goal with Madison with the free kick. Obviously they said that there was a heated argument between Ivan Tribune and someone else, but it made me think for that why we made them two changes just because of that. I mean, I don't know what you feel is on it.
I didn't know about that, to be honest.
Yeah, it was on even Post put it out near enough. So it was one quarter to 11. They said that there was a heated argument between the four of them. I don't know because of how the war was.
I mean, I wouldn't be too surprised. Like, based on, in this kind of situation, you're going to get that. I do find it really weird. It's a unique situation for us to be in. Like, I don't really remember a time when a promoted teams come up and have been quite like what we're in. Like Fulham obviously did it. Everyone's saying that, comparing us to it, but we've gone even further than them, where we have got such a different squad to what got us here. And I think everyone's still finding it very difficult to get over that. And we clearly needed signings after Wembley, but I don't think anyone thought it would be 23. I think we all thought we'd get some of the loanees back. We need to try and move on from it, but it is hard to do that because of how much we all love that team, and now we're looking at where we are now. It's a shadow of what we were. Yet we've technically got better players, and it's just really really strange. I don't know what to say. I just I saw a post saying, "Oh, you don't know what you got until it's gone," and it was just pictures of all the players we lost last season, and it's quite true, to be honest. I don't think Garner could do any worse than some of the players we've got in midfield. Don't think Spence could do any worse than Williams or anyone like that, and I certainly don't think Davis could do any worse than the strikers we've got. But yeah, we can't really be focusing on that because it's the past, but we have to just try and knuckle down, really.
Yeah, definitely. A good question. This one was about inexperienced players, but players need to be accounted for. I mean, there's always that side of things for Cooper never managed in the Premier League, but when you ask him to go up against Premier League teams in the cup, he's always proved that he can match them, and which, but we actually had that the players got to be accounted for because they're the ones putting the shirts on and getting onto the pitch.
Yeah, the performances are not purely down to the tactics. You can have a tactical plan, but like deciding when to shoot that's the personal player's decision. Like that chance that Brennan had, we can't blame Cooper for him missing that chance. Like that was purely on Brennan to score that. The amount of mistakes that Loddy made, that's not down to Cooper, unless him picking him in the first place, maybe. But like Loddy is ultimately the one that's on the pitch doing the job, and he's not doing it well enough. So that's not Cooper's fault. It's the players as well. And ultimately, I think we all got very excited about the signs we made. I definitely was. I think it's all fair to say that it was always going to be a massive risk. Everyone was taking the mick out of us for signing lots of players, but with good reason, to be honest, because it is always going to be a gamble doing that. But obviously, we had to, and it's difficult to really talk about it, really. But yeah, it's frustrating, very frustrating.
Definitely. And Gunnar asked us about, do you think Cooper out personally? I don't. I think it just be add to our problems, which I get because obviously we do get. Not, I don't want Cooper out before anyone try and clip me in a meme or something. I don't want Cooper out at all, but even if worst case scenario, if they do get rid of him and bring someone else in, you're still gonna have the same issues. So if you get what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose if someone else came in and did all right straight away, maybe you could put it down to the manager. But ultimately, Cooper's working with an entire new squad, and it's not only the players that got to get to know each other. The manager has as well, and it's I think it's all adding up really, and the pressure is a bit unnecessary. We want to stay in the league, but I think we have to just take a time and learn the league and gel together and everything. But it's very, very damaging to see these performances and the amount of goals we're now shipping. Yeah, last season, like we keep talking about it, but we had such a strong defence. Even against those Premier League sides, we looked fantastic in defence. And now you look at us this season, we're conceding goals for fun of it. And it's the same defence essentially, besides two new wing backs. Well, several new wing backs. And obviously, Nia Cartier being out has been very unfortunate, but it's very concerning, really.
Yeah, it is, to be fair. And I mean, you always say that you can't become a bad player overnight, but obviously you can tell there's the standard between the Championship and the Premier League. It's like the
It's
door.
massive,
Yeah,
massive. Yeah, everyone talks about it, but actually experiencing it, with our team, seeing us go from the second tier to this, we're seeing the difference in quality, in the finances that these clubs have. That this it's light and day between, it's between the quality.
yeah, no, not quality, but the quality of the
I
Premier
didn't
League
mean
is.
that.
Yeah, I know what you meant. I had to drop it
It
in,
works
but
though.
yeah, all the. But definitely, it's completely different, as you said.
Totally.
Uh, Obviously, what I said, different quality of precision speed and still different level. It is, to be fair,
Yeah,
that that,
absolutely.
and obviously with obviously everything else. But yeah, it's really really finny, confusing. Not confusing, but it's very speechless.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
but yeah, I mean, are you? I mean, I probably know what you're going to say. You said it earlier, but are you seeing Cooper in and or you not?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely Cooper in. He's got to learn his trade. The players have got to learn him as well. And I just feel, yeah, we can be sentimental about it, and it's been and gone, I suppose. But what he's done for us, it would be criminal to get rid of him. He's as new to the league as what we are, and what the players are. And I just feel people. It's just in a comment actually come up about it, saying how ultimately we got promoted too soon, really. And it sounds a bit silly saying that, but we did. The year before we got promoted, we were obviously a mess in the championship, and we were a mess at the start of last season. Obviously, mainly down to the manager we had, but like if you look at the depths of the squad we had last season, it wouldn't have been good enough to stay in the league. As good as Colback was for us, he wasn't going to be able to cut it for us. Cafu, Silva, Lolly, all them lot, we they aren't as good. They aren't as good as the players we have now. But
Mm,
that's why we had to sign all the players. There's so many things that added up. Having all these new players to gel as well as coming into the Premier League, getting promoted because we overachieved ultimately, is kind of backfiring in ways. I mean, I'm still unbelievably happy we got promoted. It was the best experience I've ever had being a football fan, but it kind of was always going to be a real ask for us to hit the ground running in the Premier League either way because of how last season went. Last season was built on the momentum and the constant urge to finally get back in the Prem. Whereas now it's a completely different urge with a completely different set of players, and it's quite big for Cooper to juggle. And I don't think we can all put it down to him. I think it's a collection of things, to be honest.
yeah, definitely. And Darren said about Prem came too soon. Can't buy 22 players and expect to stay up. A main aim should have been to get all the lone lads in and keep the team spirit.
Absolutely, yeah,
Completely agree. Yeah. So, but yeah, hopefully, I mean, we got Philo next week, so go again, and hopefully, with everything we're going on, hopefully that things will settle down, and that hopefully keep a suit be in charge.
Yeah, it's difficult. The Villa game's going to be really interesting atmosphere. I'm sure. I mean, it we can't be going into that with a negative
Mm.
mindset. As difficult as that is, we can't turn on the players immediately if we make one bad mistake. The City ground, as we said at the start of the season, has got to be a place where teams don't want to come. But right now, I think everyone's licking their lips when they're coming players. You know, the City ground is not at all a fortress right now. You know, we've seen that the last two games, which makes you think, when are we going to win a game right now? And we just have to do our bit at the very least. You know, get behind the players from minute one to the very end, and it's the only thing we can do as fans. Um, yeah, it's a situation that a lot of us haven't really been in because obviously
Mm.
we haven't been in the Premier League for a long time. Um, we've only really experienced it in the Championship when it comes to trying to stay in the league. But even then, we weren't consistently losing it quite in this manner. It's just down to obviously all the things we've been talking about, really.
Yeah, definitely. Rod said after 4 or 5 defeats, need to put loyalty and sentiment to one side and put a team out that can compete.
Yeah, I agree to a point with that, to be honest, because we do have to put it to one side. But if we're looking at a team that compete, I don't necessarily think the players we've got are working right now. Some of them
Mm.
are not as good as what we thought they would be.
Yeah, that is true. Kay is saying next Monday is a must win.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Rod is saying if we play Cook and McKenna together again, he's asking for trouble. And that's the thing. That's what we were saying earlier about saying the quality from Championship is to the Premier League. It is massive. And
Yeah.
last season, they loved them. McKenna would like player of the season, and Cook were like it was like Rolls Royce as Conte said about him last season. So, but he can't become a bad player overnight. That's that.
No, it's just the golfing quality is what it
Yeah,
is, and I don't, I don't really have anything against McKenna right now, but I
mm,
do, even though I have a post over him, I do think Cook, playing Cook's the wrong thing to do right now. I was
yeah,
really shocked he was playing yesterday. I was really shocked
yeah,
he was captain. He's just not got the pace or physicality,
mm,
and I think he did back in the day for Bournemouth, but right now he doesn't. And we desperately need Iacarte back. And I was really shocked. I know Wall was struggling as well, but the fact that we've dropped Wall for 2 games in a row, yet Cook still stayed in. Cook for me has been significantly worse than Wall. Wall is the actual captain. He's younger. He will get better. And when he came on against Fulham, I think he helped us out a lot. And we showed that even though he may not necessarily always be good, he's still a very important part of the team. And to not even bring him on, I thought was really strange, to be honest. I don't really know why Cook was captain. I don't know why he was playing. And if even though he was only captain because the captain and the vice from the bench, the fact that he was captain this game makes me think that he'll still be in the team next time, and that makes me quite concerned. We need Niakate back a lot. Whether we play two at the back or three, it's I don't really want to be dropping McKenna just yet. And like I say, I think Cookie, as great as he is, I don't really think he's working right now, and I feel Wall should definitely be in ahead of him. I'm not sold on Bolly right now. We've not even seen Lloyd Bardet, so we've got that many options. But for me, if you're going to play two at the back, it's really difficult to say. Definitely near Carte, but one of Wall or McKenna, and then three at the back. It'd be the three of them, in my opinion.
yeah, definitely. I do agree with you on that one. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you want to say about your socials?
Yeah, come and follow me, everyone, on Twitter. I post a lot of stuff on there about Forest mainly and all sorts, and obviously my YouTube. I've actually got my Leicester reaction out later this evening, where me and my dad are quite depressed. So yeah, come and check that out. And yeah, please do, and subscribe to Dan as well, of course.
Okay. So as I said, obviously do link to Rad's YouTube channel is in the title, so do go and check Rad's out.
Yeah,
It is a quality channel, so
quality.
quality. I get
I've
that
got the
one.
seal of approval. Thank you.
It's that. So I'd like to say thank you for watching, guys, and goodbye.